Welcome or welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Shivangi Lahoty, aka your designer Didi, and I am here today to talk to you about the industry's best kept secret. How do you actually design fashion collections? This is a question that fashion students, fashion aspirants, fashion designers, young entrepreneurs, young designers in the making always have for me. And I personally would like to address it, but the more important question here is what exactly is a fashion collection? Why do designers have the need to create fashion collections? And of course, how you can get started with designing your own fashion ranges. Now, before we get started, make sure you hit the pause button, get some water, get your notebook and your pen ready, because this is going to be a rather long but beneficial video. And of course, it's going to be super juicy, where we'll tap upon all the things that you need to consider and worry about when you sit down to design your own first fashion collection. So first things first, what exactly is a fashion collection? A fashion collection, or a line or a range as it's also called in the design industry, is basically a series of curated pieces of garments put together, right? So when you think about it, आप जब भी किसी designer का fashion collection ramp पे देखते हैं, तो आपको लगता है कुछ चीज़ें एक साथ they go along very well. You see a jacket in a certain print, and then you see a pair of trousers in a certain print, but all together, they look like they're put together and they belong to the same category. That is a collection. That's a range जहाँ पे आप shirts होते हैं, trousers होते हैं, jackets होते हैं, dresses होती हैं. Sometimes you also have, if you're doing Indian wear, you have lehengas and salwar kurtas and anarkalis and saris, but they're all in a similar color family, they're all in a similar print family, they're all with similar design elements जिनको देख के आपको लगता है कि हाँ ये collection लग रहा है. That is exactly what a fashion collection is. Now, why do designers create fashion collections? What's the reason behind creating these collections? So first things first, it helps them put together their ideas and their vision on a certain inspiration properly. It's very well curated, and also it brings in a lot of clarity for your customers. So when a customer comes to shop at the store, and if a customer is not interested in buying maybe a jacket, but they may be interested in buying a dress, and they want that same print in that particular dress, they have the option or the luxury to pick and choose that. Also, as designers, when you're planning a range or a collection, it's so much more organized and systematic rather than having multiple things from random places कि आपने कोई black and white cheetah print में या whatever zebra print में आपने कोई dress ले ली और अचानक से उस designer ने कहीं पे आपके pastel popsicle hues में कोई loose silhouette में कुछ बना दिया, and then there is like a bodycon dress. That doesn't look very put together or organized, right? That's like any random Tom, Dick and Harry shop. What separates a designer from a garment shop is this, right? That they plan their ranges, they have this whole organized structure जहाँ एक collection, एक inspiration से there are multiple pieces which can be then combined together by the customers if they want to pick and choose multiple things together, or they can buy one and own a piece of that collection. And that depends on their liking, whether उनको dress चाहिए या trousers चाहिए या jacket चाहिए, या if they want a shirt, or if they want to combine the whole thing and create like maybe a power dressed look with like a blazer and like a formal shirt and trousers, they could do that as well, right? So this is the reason why designers actually come up with their own collections. So even for example, me as a designer with my fashion label, when you see collections, you will see that every collection has a range of separate pieces of clothing which when put together make the entire rack look like they belong to the same category, right? That is how designers function, and that is the reason why they create collections. It's just more organized, it's more sort of also interesting for customers to look at. Since there is a storyline behind every collection, it's more sort of engaging plus exciting. Customers are looking forward to what's up, what's coming next, right? These are a few reasons why designers come up with their own collections. But having said that, how can you get started with your own fashion collection, right? How do you get started with it? And this is a question जो I know is the reason why you're watching this video abhi tak, or could be also the reason that you're struggling with it in your college projects, you're struggling with it as a small business owner, and you're trying to figure out what are some ways in which you could make your collections look more put together. So let me help you with that. The first thing that you need to do before you get started with designing your collections is actually brainstorming. Your brainstorming or mind mapping is the first step which is going to get you started in in terms of how you want to design that collection. So you can find inspiration from various sources, right? There is inspiration everywhere that you look around. Wherever you look around, there is some sort of inspiration out there for you to seek. I, as a matter of fact, have students who've taken inspiration from the railway crossing and designed collections around it, or taken inspiration from literally the zebra crossing and designed collections around it. Inspiration is everywhere, and some examples in which you could get inspired is probably architecture, right? History, historic monuments. You could get inspired from nature, of course, you know, the beautiful flora and fauna that you see around yourself. You could also get inspired from, you know, beautiful art deco movements and art movements of the past. You could get inspired from paintings. For all you care, you could take inspiration from cinema, movies, right? You could get inspired from a song. Maybe the mood of the song or the beats of the song inspire you, and that is where you could get started, and that could be like the first starting point where your brainstorming process actually begins, right? And for each person, it's individual. For each person, just like snowflakes, it's different for all of us. Inspiration strikes us at the oddest of hours, and it hits us with, you know, with like this just spur of motivation that, okay, this is what I want to design. For somebody like me, I take inspiration from travel, right? So every time that I'm traveling, I'm inspired to create something new. I'm inspired to create something innovative. So depending on that, you seek your inspiration and put all those ideas, right? Right now, we are doing a brain dump. We are doing something as, you know, as simple as like a mind dump, where we're putting all our ideas on paper. Jo bhi random thoughts aa rahe hain, put them on paper. That is step one. From there is where you get started with then refining those ideas and building a theme. So you start from there. That is your first initial step, your inspiration. Once you have all of that brainstorming on the paper, you start refining those ideas and building it into a theme. Now your inspiration could be feminism, for example, right? But from that feminism, the actual theme that comes out could be something else altogether. It's a more refined version of that same thing. Feminism by itself is a very broad topic. For example, if you take up, you know, nature, it's a very broad topic. From that, you narrow it down. For example, you know, it was Elle Design Awards in 2014, where one of my collections was inspired from nature, but from that inspiration, that whimsical, sort of mystical, you know, inspiration that I had in mind, my entire theme shifted from that to pristine dandelions, and that became the theme for the entire collection. From that theme is when you move to the next step, which is deciding on the mood for your collection, right? The kind of mood that you want, which is the emotions that you want for your fashion collection to evoke, whether it is happiness, whether it is joy, whether it is sensuous, whether it is, you know, any sort of emotion that you wanted to depict, यहाँ पे आपका mood आ जाता है. Of course, once you have your inspiration, theme, mood, all of that in place, then comes your forecast, because you have to follow a forecast. You have to do a trend analysis, see what's trending in the market, see what is projected to be, you know, in trend in the future, and then design a collection accordingly. While you're studying your forecast, you have to also simultaneously look at your client profile. You have to look at your demographics, the kind of people you're targeting. Who is your ideal client? Who are people who will be wearing your clothes? Where would they be wearing it? What would be an आइडियल डे इन देयर लाइफ? यू नो, वो इंसान कितना पैसे कमाता है, वो कहाँ रहता है, किस एज ग्रुप में है, क्या उनकी नीड्स हैं, right? You have to answer all of these questions, and this is where your client boarding comes into the picture. Once you're done doing all of that is when you start actually creating your looks. This is where you take inspiration from your forecast and your, you know, your theme and your mood, and you decide on a color palette for your collection, and you start actually sketching. And after this stage is all about sketching, putting in the right textures, choosing the right fabrics for the right season that you are targeting for your collection, and of course all the trims, patterns, prints, all the additional details that go into creating a collection. It's a very lengthy process, but trust me, the entire design process is so rewarding and so beautiful, just for the joy of creating and just for seeing those garments come to life. Of course, you know what, once you're done creating all of these steps, you have to take these products to prototype stage. You have to take these prototypes then to, you know, your first samples, and from first samples they get into manufacturing, which is a whole different ball game altogether. But this is entirely how I would say the entire fashion design collection process works, from scratch, right from one small speck of an idea to converting into an entire range. And yeah, I hope that this video helped you, and I hope this was beneficial. If you enjoyed watching it, and if you are all pumped and psyched about creating your first fashion collection, leave a comment down below. Let me know how helpful this was, and of course tag me on Instagram when you do go ahead and create your own fashion collections. I can't wait to see you guys again really soon with another fun informational video, and I'll see you guys around. Make sure you hit the subscribe button if this helped you, because it would really help me with the channel reach, and it's also going to motivate me to keep creating more fun and engaging fashion related content for all of you. I'll see you guys around. Mwah. Bye.